Algebra 2, welcome to your first day of your Solving Quadratics playlist. Our standard is I can solve quadratic equations using the X method. Make sure you open up your notes to pages 42 to 45 and find a place in that page range to copy down these two problems. Make sure you are taking pictures at the end of each day and submitting them so that you can get your attendance and your credit. So, open up to page 42 to 45 and copy down at the top, I can solve quadratic equations using the X method. Once you have that down, please be sure to copy down the example. Example 3, find the roots of the quadratic. We have 13x equals 2x squared plus 15. Okay, so you've copied this down and you've already can see the problem is asking us to find the roots. Find the roots. Can you guys give me the other words that mean the same thing as roots? What are other words we can use to describe a root in a quadratic? Okay, so let's copy down our problem. So we have 13x, I'm going to write it off to the side, equals 2x squared plus 15. When we solve a quadratic or find its roots, the first thing we need to do is we need to make sure it's in standard form so we can factor it. Because in order to solve a quadratic, we first have to factor it by having it in standard form. So I need to move this 13x over to the right side. Since it's a positive 13x, I need to subtract 13x on both sides of my equal sign. When I do that, on the left side, 13x minus 13x simplifies to 0, and we get that 0 on the left side. On the right side, when we subtract 13x, there isn't any other like term. So we're just going to bring it down with it, and I'm going to scooch it in the middle so that it's already in order. So we have 2x squared, scooch in our minus 13x plus 15. So now we have standard form. We have ax squared, we have bx, and we have c. So now that it's in standard form, I always need to check, can I pull anything out? And when I look at this 2, negative 13, and 15, there isn't anything I can divide all of these numbers by. If I try to divide them by 2, negative 13 and 15 can't be divided by 2, so I can't pull anything out, which means I'm ready to label my a value, my b value, and my c value. So I have a, b, and c, and I'm going to figure out, okay, my a value is 2, my b value is negative 13, and my c value is 15. Once I have my a, b, and c, I'm ready to now do that X method. Here's that X method. On the top is a times c. So 2 times 15 gives me 30. And at the bottom, I get negative 13, my b value. So take a second. Find your two mystery numbers. If you have a hard time doing this, write down a 30 off to the side and find all of the factors of 30. Okay, so you found your mystery numbers. When I struggle finding my mystery numbers, I make a list of my factors. And one little trick here is since the top number is positive and the bottom number is negative, I know I have to have two negative numbers. So let's try negative 1, negative 30. We have negative 2, negative 15. We have negative 3, negative 10. And we have negative 5, negative 6. Okay, so we need to check which of these pairs are going to add up to negative 13. Well, negative 1 plus negative 30 is negative 31, so that's a loser. Negative 2 plus negative 15, negative 17. Negative 3 plus negative 10, that is our winner chicken dinner. These add up to negative 13. So those are our two winners. We have negative 3 and negative 10. Okay, but we're not done yet. what do we have to do to our mystery numbers? What do I have to do to my mystery numbers? You're right. I have to make sure I divide both of these by my a value, which is 2. Once I divide both sides by 2, I need to make sure these fractions are simplified. Here's where we can pull up Desmos and plug these in. Well, negative 3/2 is already simplified. And negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5. Now that we have these simplified mystery numbers by dividing them by our a value and simplifying the fraction, now we can start to write our factored form. So type and answer the question, what is factored form going to look like? Okay, so when I write factor form, I start by writing 0 equals, we have x minus 3/2 times x minus 5. If you stopped here, then you need to remember, we can't have a fraction. If we have a fraction, we need to make sure we move that in front of the x. So your factored form should have been 0 equals 2x minus 3 times x minus 5. Okay, so we have successfully factored the quadratic. However, we haven't found the roots yet. We still need to find the roots. In order to find the roots, I'm going to set my two groups, my 2x minus 3 and my x minus 5, equal to 0 and solve for x. These are going to tell me my zeros, my solutions, my roots, my x-intercepts, all the same thing. They're going to give me my solutions. So I'm going to do 2x minus 3 equal to 0, and I'm going to do x minus 5 equal to 0. Okay, and I'm going to simplify. This left side, I'll add 3. So I get 2x equals 3. I'll then divide by 2. And I can see that x equals 3/2. There's my first root. On the right side, I just have x minus 5 equals 0, so I add 5 to both sides, and we're left with x equals positive 5. These are my roots. The roots are 3/2 and 5. Make sure you have this entire thing copied down, and we have one more example to do. Example number 4, find the roots of the quadratic. Again, we're finding the roots. We're using this word roots. Remember, that word means the same thing as solving, finding the solutions, finding the zeros. Those all mean the same thing. So we need to go all the way through. We need to factor and actually find those roots by setting our factored form equal to 0. So let's start by just writing out our problem. 0 equals 10x squared plus 35x minus 20. This is already in standard form. Example 3 had terms on both sides of the equal sign, but this problem already is set equal to 0, so it's already in standard form. So I need to first ask myself, can we divide out a number from all three terms? So answer the question. What can we pull out? What can we simplify? Yes, you're right. We can divide all of these by 5. 10 divided by 5, 35 divided by 5, and negative 20 divided by 5. So I'm going to divide out a 5 from all of these and make sure I put this out in front. So I have 10 over 5 is 2x squared. 35 divided by 5 is 7. Negative 20 divided by 5 is negative 4. So I pulled out a 5, and what's super helpful is, one, you need to do this so you get factored form correct, but also now we have way smaller numbers, and now when we do our x methods, it's going to be way, way easier. Alright, so next, find your a, b, and c values. What is a, b, and c? Good. A equals 2, b equals 7, and c equals negative 4. There's our a, b, and c. So let's do our x method. Draw your big X, and let's fill it out together. So, at the top, remember, at the top, a times c, 2 times -4 is -8. My b value is 7, so I'm going to write my 7 on the bottom. Okay, take a second, find your mystery numbers. What are your mystery numbers? We need two numbers that multiply to get -8, but they add up to 7. Good. If you said your mystery numbers were +8 and -1, you are 100% correct. 8 times -1 is -8. 8 plus -1 is +7. But we never forget to divide by your a value, which is 2. When we do this, we need to simplify. 8 divided by 2 is +4. -1 over 2 is -1/2. These are what we'll use to write our factored form. So let's write out factored form. We would have 0 equals. Don't forget the 5 we pulled out. 5. X plus 4. X minus 1/2. But we have a fraction. We need to make sure we move the denominator in front of the x. 0 equals 5 times x plus 4 times 2x minus 1. Here is factored form. From here, I want you, find your roots. Use factored form and find your roots. Okay, so you found your roots. When you were finding your roots, you should have set your two groups of parentheses equal to 0. Remember, 5 has nothing to do with the roots. That's just factored form. So I have x plus 4 equals 0. And I have 2x minus 1 equals 0. And now I'm going to solve for x. Subtract 4 on both sides. I get x equals -4. On the right side, I'll add 1, giving me 2x equals 1. And I'm dividing both sides by 2. And I get x equals 1/2. So those are my roots. You should have said your roots are at -4 and 1/2. Alright, that's example 2. Make sure you have all of this copied down. This was the first part of your playlist for today. Next, you need to go make sure you do the solving practice number 1. When you're done with that, take a picture. After today, you should submit 2 pictures, one of your notes and one of the practice problems. Good luck. Have a good one.